News of all time.
You were supposed to say update. Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America.
And you ain't black.
The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans. We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent. And we've got a pretty cool update for you about the big homie Gonzalo Lira. But before that, we've had a couple new folks to the channel, so I just wanted to give you a quick update on what we're about. Dear listener, when we first started the channel, it was really kind of about trying to find a middle ground between left wing and right wing to kind of reconcile us all to each other, because we've been in a very, very, very divisive environment in the media world. But as things started to progress, I began to see that a lot of the divide really isn't between left wing and right wing. The divide is really between authoritarianism and freedom. The recent rash of deplatforming, silencing critics, censorship, etc., the destruction of the First Amendment in the virtual town square. Dear listener, we've all got to come to the conclusion that, look, none of us are experts in every single topic, whether it's vaccination, epidemiology, global events, etc. We're not experts, but we can't
rely on the experts.
Right. But we do have minds. And so I think the way forward is to take into account what the experts are saying. All of us compare notes and say, hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And that's basically the idea. That's why, dear listener, we've got that scrolling ticker that says call in if you disagree. Now, having said that, we had featured the terrifying story of the big homie Gonzalo Lira, who is basically a citizen journalist. He was essentially doxxed by the Daily Beast, who admitted that Gonzalo had not been taking any money from the Russians, had decried Russian propaganda, and used terms like invasion, etc., that Russia would be against. But either way, they tried to imply that he was a Russian spy, that he was working for the Russians, and contacted the Ukrainian government, which then deployed the SBU to pick him up. Now, the SBU is essentially the KGB in Ukraine. They're the secret police, and they're responsible for disappearing or killing anyone in Ukraine that doesn't speak the party line. They're also for killing folks in Ukraine who are working for peace. Dennis Kyriv, I've been talking about him over and over again. He was deployed to Russia to negotiate a peaceful, bloodless end to this conflict, and the SBU scooped him up and murdered him. So there you go. Did you see Vermilia's shout out to you on Instagram? No. Who's Vermilia?
The band.
Oh, whoa, gang. Okay, we'll check that out. Okay, so we reported on that. Gonzalo was missing. Nobody could find him. Nobody knew where he was. He said, if you haven't heard from me in 12 hours, it's because I've been picked up by the SBU. And we hadn't heard from the homie in about 3 or 4 days from the date that I had recorded the previous video.
Yeah. But in total, it was about a week since
Yeah.
he had last.
Yeah, and you also had elements in Ukraine that were bragging, saying that they had beheaded him, etc. Really, really horrible stuff. The Chilean government actually officially reported him as missing because Gonzalo was an American Chilean person. Okay, so Archie is telling us that there was a Ukrainian blogger who recently had been killed, who had a pretty big following. What's this person's name, Archie?
Oh, so the person, what you're talking about didn't necessarily say his name, so it could have been someone else they were talking about?
What do you
So
mean?
they beheaded him?
Oh, no. They're specifically talking about Gonzalo.
Yeah. And the Daily Beast, the person that had put that out, I'm not familiar with the person's name, but they were like bragging about it, that they had gotten that possibly they were the ones that
Sarah
got him.
so and so and so. I forgot the person.
Really, really messed up.
Yeah, they were bragging. They were spiking the football. They were saying, "Yeah, he's dead. He was a Russian spy."
Never
saying
anything about him being American either.
Correct. He's Chilean American, and I don't think that the Ukrainian government anticipated the backlash for Gonzalo, because there was a concerted effort to bring awareness to the fact that Gonzalo was missing. As a matter of fact, as recently as last night, Glenn Greenwald was looking up information on Gonzalo. He was asking for information about Gonzalo. So it's a real serious issue. Well, today I was pleasantly surprised to wake up to the news that Gonzalo has actually been found, that he's safe. And we actually have the video of the interview that he did.
It was so nice because it's like...
So we're going to watch it.
You keep watching all of this death and all this craziness that the Ukrainians are doing and the fighting that's happening between Ukraine and Russia and our involvement as Americans in it. And it was just like so disheartening that this, especially seeing the man saying, like, if I'm missing for more than 12 hours, this is what happened. This is who's after me.
Yeah.
And knowing that was happening and knowing that the Daily Beast had doxed him like that when they're sitting, to my understanding, in New York.
Yeah.
And to dox
Safe.
somebody that far away when you're safe where you are. And I mean, I'm not going to say too much about that person's lifestyle, but at the same time, that person should understand what it's like to have people be after you irrationally or to want to harm you. And I just don't understand not caring for other people like you would want to be cared for yourself. So when I found out that he was alive and that there was an interview, I kept telling him, like, put it on, put it on, put it on, put it on.
Yeah.
Finally, he was like, leave me alone.
So here's Gonzalo, guys. In his own words, you could see he's safe. Check this out.
It still does look a little weird, though, I thought.
Okay, Gonzalo, I think we are live. I think we should be live. One sec. I see 0.
Let's try this again, shall we? Just
Okay,
wait.
Gonzalo,
He
I
looks
think
stressed.
we
the way he's
are
like down with his hand on his head.
Yeah,
live. I think we should be live.
he looks
One
pretty
sec.
stressed out there.
Yeah, and look at his eyes.
Yeah, like before the camera, before they thought he was on,
Yeah.
he's looks like he's in a distressed position there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see 0 people are watching. No one's watching. No one's watching, man.
Still, it's got a sense of humor.
Here's
That's
some
good.
people. Okay,
Well,
here's
it
some
doesn't
people.
matter. Just
Okay,
the
yeah.
recording is going to be.
Yeah,
good.
we're recording. Look,
Hi,
Gonzalo, I'll give
it's
you 5
Gonzalo
minutes.
Lira. Yeah,
Let me
it's-
put you. Let me
hi,
put you on.
Gonzalo Lira. It's what is it? Friday, April 20th. Friday already. Yeah, April 22nd, 2022. I'm in Kharkov. I'm okay. I just want to say that I'm back online, and I'm here with Alex Christoforou, and I just want to say that I'm fine physically. I'm a little rattled. I was picked up by the SBU.
Okay, so that's confirmation. He was picked up by the SBU.
Yep.
He's saying physically he's fine. Obviously, we all agree with our sister Candy Apples. We're happy he's alive. I was not. I mean, throughout the video, I kept saying, like, presumably, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to be real with you guys. I was 99.99999% certain that today, actually, I was going to wake up to somebody telling me some horrible video had been released on Telegram or whatever. I'm very, very surprised that he's alive. As Archie's talking about, Valery Kolozhov was a Ukrainian that was recently murdered by the Ukrainian government because he was, quote, a pro-Russian blogger. There it is. Pro-Russian blogger Valery Kuleshov was killed in Kherson, which I think is pretty close to where this guy is. So this
Under
is
unclear circumstances.
this is really serious. You can look at it right here. You see this guy's vehicle. They lit this guy up. It's reported that Kuleshov actively cooperated with the invaders and even applied for the position of chief of the occupation police of the city. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's the thing. When they say pro-Russian, I'm like, right, okay, what else are you not telling us?
Yeah. We continue.
On Friday, April 15th at a little after 1 p.m. local time. I'm okay physically. I'm a little rattled. There seems to have been like a lot of interest in my case, which is wonderful.
Yes. There was a lot
Yes, we were very interested.
of real online. He was kind of like right at the right below the Jimmy Dore Glenn. I think Jimmy would have covered it. It just so happened that they could only shoot on Monday. But I'm almost certain Jimmy would have covered this. But it was definitely under the surface. There was a real interest in this guy, real interest in this story, and a real interest in people rooting for him, wanting to see him.
Yeah.
Because it was, I think what was really unique about this story wasn't so much, a blogger got picked up, suppression of speech. They killed him. Like, unfortunately, that's what happens. I mean, that's what happened to Dennis Kyriv. Although Dennis Kyriv wasn't a blogger, he was actually trying to broker peace. And it's obvious that there is a faction in Ukraine that does not want peace, a fanatical, far-right, ultra-nationalist, race-purist sort of group that doesn't want peace. And so they executed Dennis Kyriv. The reason this story was so compelling, particularly to me, was because this was a moment where the media worked with the government. You think about the American media worked with a foreign government to dox and suppress and silence and censor an American doing journalism. That was the thing that got me. That was the thing that got me is, number one, this guy's Chilean American. But two, it's our media explicitly and in public. It's gotten... The suppression of freedom has gotten to the point now where these media outlets don't even have the self-awareness to hide the fact that they explicitly worked with a government that's hostile to free speech and almost got this guy murdered.
Unbelievable.
It is
unreal.
Unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
Thank you. But there are a lot of other people who are, frankly, more deserving of the attention. I've highlighted them in my Twitter feed, the real Gonzalo Lira. Those people matter more because we don't know where some of them are. Some of them have passed away. But
I keep mentioning Dennis Kyriv. That he had published a list recently. He said, if you want to know about the Ukrainian government, Google these names. And there was a list of like 8 or 9 people who are either have been disappeared or executed, Dennis Kyriv being one of them. And now that person that I just highlighted has unfortunately joined that list of people who have been executed by the Ukrainian government, the SBU. Valery Kuleshov was apparently the most recent one.
Unbelievable.
And they rolled up and they murdered this dude in broad daylight. Broad daylight.
Oh, jeez.
Unbelievable. We continue.
Well, some of them were killed, but the other ones we don't know where they are, and so they matter more. I'm okay. I don't have my computer, and I don't have my phone. And so anything that was published or posted on the Gonzalo Lira YouTube channel, the Coach Red Pill YouTube channel, the real Gonzalo Lira Twitter feed, and the real CRP Telegram feed after April 15th, just discount it because it was not me. I did not have access to those accounts, and I still don't, for that matter.
Okay, so they took all of his communication portal. So I don't, maybe he's guesting on somebody else's phone and all the rest of it. But this is
because he said they took his phone and his computer.
Yeah.
So
and look, all of us were dealing with the prospect of this guy's dead.
Yeah.
There's going to be some horrible video of him being torn to shreds, him getting his head cut off, because the folks that took him have done this as recently as 2007. There's a video.
I thought it was done.
And all these guys have Twitters, by the way. They're all freely able to tweet.
Wow.
Threatening to kill Gonzalo, mocking his death, all those things. Twitter's completely fine with that. And you know what? So am I, because we need these people to identify themselves. Like, you're a Nazi. You believe in destroying people's free speech. You celebrate the murder of journalists. I want you on Twitter. The only reason I'm pointing that out is to say, okay, so satire sites get banned from Twitter. Scott Ritter, who's a credentialed UN's weapons inspector, he gets banned from Twitter. But you got people actively working to coordinate and mock and laugh at the destruction of free speech. They're okay.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty weird.
You got to understand, like, and the other thing is like, these people stole his property, but we're all just so happy that he's alive that we're still, we can't appreciate the travesty of the fact that they took all this guy's stuff. They took his means of communication, the videos that he had that he shot previously. We don't know what happened to them. Like, but
and
because
it seems to me like it's very clear that he's not saying a lot of things.
Correct.
He just keeps repeating, "I'm okay."
Yes.
I'm okay. And he said "I'm okay" so many times that, and there's not a lot more information. And he's, on his past videos, been very explicit about a lot of things and just come right out and just said these things. And all of a sudden in this video, he's very quiet about what's going on. So I'm like,
yes. Yes, and I just saw another live video with Gonzalo where he was saying that the Ukrainian military, that they were good guys, and it's unfortunate now they're all going to end up dying. He wasn't saying that before.
Yeah.
So I think it was one of those things for the Ukrainian government, because of how much
influence he has.
Yeah, and the fact that also that he was an American, and that there was a lot of really, it could have went bad for them, because the folks who are doing the killing over there know that they have to have the unconditional support of America, because that's the only way that this is going to work. And I don't notice I didn't say the Ukrainians,
right? Because
I believe the Ukrainians, Zelensky, etc., want peace. The Ukrainians voted Zelensky in on a peace mandate. And there is a very small faction of historical Nazis. I'm trying to get rid of the term neo-Nazis. These people are historical Nazis whose grandfathers massacred Jews in the town square. A small faction of these people that don't want peace at all and see themselves as the rise of the Fourth Reich or whatever. So those people are the people that we're arming. Those are the people that are fighting and doing all this craziness and massacring civilians on their own side and killing Russian troops in torturous, horrible ways. And they know that if there's some horrible video that gets cycled of an American journalist getting torn to shreds by Ukrainians, that they're going to lose. And when I say they're going to lose, I don't even mean they're going to die.
No.
I mean the
unquestioned support of so many Americans.
Correct. As soon as that American money dries up and that NATO support dries up, they're going to have to capitulate to peace. They're more afraid. I believe these Nazis over there are more afraid of peace than they are of death. And so
it does seem that way.
Yeah.
That's such an odd statement, but it does seem that way.
Yeah, and I do not want to say, as A. Rose points out, when I say small faction, that's so as to defend the integrity of the Ukrainian people, but make no mistake, they're a very powerful, influential, effective faction. So they're small, but it appears they're the ones with all the guns, and they're the ones willing to do the killing. So good correction
even in
there,
that
A.
video
Ross.
that we saw with Zelensky talking to that faction, you could tell that they had no respect for him at all,
Or fear,
no, at all. And Zelensky looked like he had to start getting an aggressive. You shouldn't even have to do that. If you're the president, you shouldn't have to get an aggressive pose. Your word should be enough.
Yes.
But yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's without question. Azov is absolutely part of the government now, and I agree completely with A. Ross's analysis. Zelensky's terrified of them. I believe that. I believe Zelensky is completely compromised, and I believe that he is caught between the Nazis and NATO, which is essentially America. America has a vested interest, and we have been benefiting from this war. This is bleeding out the Russians as far as, getting them drudged down into this conflict on their border. It is stymied the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is going to result in us being a 50% patron of the European gas oil market. I mean, we are benefiting from this thing in spades if you look at this over time.
Eventually.
Yeah. So, but we continue.
And I don't have my cell phone or access to my email accounts. I created a new one, and that's how I got in touch with Alex. And I've been in touch with, of course, I reached out to my family members, the people close to me, and I'm telling them that I'm okay.
Can you imagine being this guy's family?
No. Oh my gosh. It would be like Back from the Dead, because I'm sure 100% they all thought he was already dead.
Yeah. I mean, you're just okay. He's dead. That's it. It's over. And to get a phone call and know that it's him is unbelievable. And you guys got to understand, I mean, they'll do the absolute worst things. I mean, it's very common actually to have the kidnapped person phone call the family, etc. That's actually very, very common. It increases the psychological torture. Your daughter's telling you, come home, daddy, blah, blah, blah. It's horrible. Like, people have no idea the type of tortures that people do to people like that. So it must have just been an insane moment that, I think about that a lot. Our relationship, my son, like imagining like my son being beside himself thinking that I'm gone and I'm going to end up on a video somewhere. And then bang, you get a phone call. That must have been, and look, this guy's family, while they're grateful, make no mistake about it, they are traumatized for life.
Oh, for sure.
They're traumatized
100%,
for life. So I don't want this to be like, oh, he's found, great, everything's back to normal. Like this guy he's gonna have PTSD for sure. Mm-hmm. His family's gonna have PTSD for sure.
No doubt. And he's not out of that area yet either.
Sadocked, correct. He is not completely out of the woods yet. As a matter of fact, I don't know if he says it in this or another video, but he said in another video like he's not able to leave the city.
He says it in this video.
So there you go.
I think it's at the end of this one.
In some cases, I'm waiting for their reply because it's 3 a.m, 4 a.m over there. I'm okay. Physically, I'm okay. I don't have anything that I can say publicly other than I'm okay. And thank you for the concern, because I've been like checking out on internet some of the stuff that is being said about me, and I appreciate so much the kind wishes and all the thoughtfulness of so many people, and I very much appreciate it. But I'm still in Kharkov,
and that dear listener is one of the reasons we do what we do. Obviously, he didn't see anything from us, but the accumulation of people tweeting,
absolutely,
Facebook posting, that hashtag where's Gonzalo Lira, people being concerned on YouTube. I am certain that that does do something positive for his mental health. And this is one of the crazy things about being in the time period that we're in, because on the one hand, it's like there's almost like this nihilistic powerlessness that you feel when you see what the media does, how much they lie, how much our country has been lying about this particular conflict, who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. So on the one hand, you feel kind of powerless. But on the other hand, guys, I believe that if it wasn't for us, and I'm saying us with the capital U, he'd probably be dead.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think even like all that CNN stuff that we're seeing now where their programs are not running like they wanted them to, stuff is getting shut down. Like, I think that that's power to the people, because people are realizing that there's enough places where you can get your news that's not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
That we don't need those stations anymore. Those are a time of the past. They're like a dinosaur thing now. Like, now it's us smaller people that are saying, look, we want to tell the truth, and that's what it's all about, and that's why we're here. And people here are here to listen because they want to hear the truth. And so all of us truth tellers get together, like, stuff like this will get stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't, you know, I agree and disagree with cattle murder at the same time. Singularly, we're not important, especially
but collectively, we are.
Especially to these people. But collectively, and we know that because that's why they're so busy deplatforming anybody that says anything that's against their narrative, because they understand that we do have collective power. They understand that. And I think because of the backlash and the hashtags and all these people reporting on Gonzalo, I think they had to do the arithmetic and say, I don't know, man, this guy he is an American after all. He is a Chilean.
Super chat.
And you know what's funny? Chile actually put out a formal, hey, where is this guy? Good. America didn't.
And
isn't that interesting?
American.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, he was born in Burbank, California, I believe. So he's an actual Native American, per se. So Chile put out a, hey, where's Gonzalo? It was in mainstream Chilean media, but in America, it wasn't. Why is that? Why is that? So, so that tells me that our government made a decided effort. Hey, we don't really care about this guy. He gets what he gets. I mean, it was an American publication that got the man in the situation he was in the first place. But I truly, truly believe it was the response of social media. People literally all over the world at social media.
Totally agree.
And the combination of the fact that he was an American citizen and the Azov and all these other people need American support. I truly believe that kept this man alive. I really, really believe that.
He brought it up a couple times in this. He just named the city that he's in, and he's about to tell us he's not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
When you paused it.
Yeah. So like this is, and that's why I said, guys, that video, that previous Gonzalo video, I said, please share this video. And you guys did. I mean, we had, we're a little channel. We just do this. I just do this out of love and obligation. We do have another channel. It doesn't matter. But like, there was a lot of sharing. I was seeing on Reddit boards, whatever, the video popped up. I don't care about growing this channel per se. But what I do care about, though, is was getting the word out about this guy, because to me what happened, what the Daily Beast did was crossed a red line. People talk about red lines a lot, but what these folks did is an actual real life red line. You're a journalist. There's supposed to be a sort of fraternal sort of we're in this together now type feel with journalism, and it was journalists that did this, and that to me, I felt like they crossed the line.
I totally agree. You're safe over there in New York, and you've got something to say over there.
Correct.
And turning that guy, I just couldn't believe it.
It was one of the ugliest moments in American journalist history. I mean, these people have completely and totally sacrificed their integrity, but for a journalist to do this to another journalist, I mean, it's a whole other set of ugly. And I really hope that there are far-reaching implications for the Daily Beast for this. And I don't, obviously we're not going to be hypocrites and call for the any sort of physical, whatever to happen to the Daily Beast. But I really, really hope that when Jimmy or one of these big guys gets back, that somebody does some accountability for these folks, because
100%.
this was really, really, really crossing a red line. But again, guys, at the same time, I really believe that this one right here is an example where we are, that's the slogan for Middle America.
Right.
We are the media. And I truly, truly believe that. Like, I believe that all of us collectively had a small hand in keeping this guy alive and bringing him back to his family safely, inshallah. We continue.
And for the time being, I cannot leave. The authority here is...
There it is. So they
where what city he's in, and he can't leave.
Yeah, they confiscated his property. They kidnapped him. Whatever they did when he was there, and he can't leave. I don't know if you
notice it, but I never heard him say anywhere in this video that they took his stuff. Like, he lets you know that's what happened, but he didn't come right out and say it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that they said, this is what you can say, and everything else is off the table. So he's trying to be, it looks like he's treading very lightly, just repeating that he's okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. 100%.
Told me that I cannot leave the city. And, but I'm okay. And none the worse for wear. And I'm rambling, and I'm sorry about that. I'm a little bit discombobulated, as you can imagine, but I will come up with something clever to say. So I'm going to end here. Alex, thank you so much, and just cut it out now, because I'm just. Thank you.
And that's pretty much the end of the video.
Yeah.
As you can see, he's psychologically still pretty rattled.
Yeah.
And they've taken all his things, and who knows if there isn't some horrible SBU guy posted right outside camera. Maybe he was on the phone with the SBU, whatever. Some decision was made that he had to be let go. And I'm sure those folks aren't necessarily the happiest folks in the world that they had to let this man go. But they almost certainly threatened his family. They almost, I'm certain they're still in communication.
Yeah, exactly, Candy Apples. He sure didn't have much to say.
Yeah. So, look, man, as Jason said, he's our citizen, and thank the Most High that he's still alive, for sure. For sure. But make no mistake about it. The democratic heroic government of Ukraine, one single solitary blogger has been kidnapped, presumably tortured. His property has been stolen. His freedom of movement has been sanctioned, etc., etc., etc. This is one guy who blogs from Ukraine. But this is a democratic country that they're full of whatever. So look, does that justify Vladimir Putin's horrible? No, I for the millionth time, no. But I do not believe that normal Ukrainians are supporting this action. But what I believe is happening that is, until we wake up, I think that Gonzalo, the further inspiration we can take from Gonzalo is to say, hey, I do believe that we had an impact on this guy's life, saving this guy's life. What would happen if collectively we got to our government and said, listen, our role in this now should be to de-escalate and further the peace agenda. Everybody can agree that these folks, the element in Ukraine, and again, I think it's very important to make this distinction, even within their government, because it's clear that their government has a disagreement with one another. And the reason I'm saying that is because when Dennis Kyriv was killed. The army put out a notification saying that he was a hero of Ukraine and he died for his country. The SBU and some of the Nazis in parliament said that he was killed because he was a traitor and he was resisting arrest. So think about this. The army says, Slava Ukraine, he's a hero of Ukraine. The SBU and members of parliament say, this guy was evil. So that tells us there's even within Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Because think about it. Who would want peace more than anybody? The regular army, right? Regular people who are like, man, I just want to get back to life, regular life. Those are the people on the front line. People are like, yeah, they love their country, but they're not fanatical Nazis. They want peace. But if you're a Nazi, you don't want peace. So so that tells you within the Ukrainian government, there is not agreement on this. So we can't hold even the Ukrainian government completely responsible. And that to me makes our government even uglier. Because, you know, there's a big part of me that says if we were to open up Zelensky's head, he would be begging, please stop doing this to us. Please stop this support. Please stop this propaganda. Please stop arming these people.
You're probably right.
What are you guys doing to us, right? And I just think it makes our country even worse. The fact that we are willing to do this. Michelle says, stop calling everything Nazis. Oh no, Michelle, we're not calling everything Nazis. We're just calling Nazis.
There's a lot of them.
Right, so if we're talking about Azov, Right Sector, Svoboda, those types of people, SBU, those folks are absolute avowed Nazis, and they wouldn't deny it. What I'm trying to do, even within the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian military, is trying to cut straight between the actual Nazis that are there and then regular folks who sign up to protect their country, who just want peace and want out of this conflict, but can't because our country is supporting them.
We watched Ukraine on Fire a while ago, with the channel. That was pretty interesting. And it was loaded with Nazis and with Nazi flags and all that stuff. And then there was basically like an answer back to that documentary. What was it called?
Which one? Ukraine on Fire?
Ukraine on Fire was the one we watched.
Winter on Fire.
It was Winter on Fire?
Yeah, Winter on Fire was the next one. It was kind of the answer back. And you could tell that they were strategically not showing certain angles. Oh, 100%.
To hide those flags. And even still, the Nazi flags got in the background. You could still see the black and red. A lot of times people don't realize that the black and red flag, what faction is that? Or what is that?
That was the Right Sector, and it stands for Blut und Boden, which was a term that the SS used in Nazi Germany, blood and soil. As a matter of fact, when the Tiki Torch people were marching, they were saying, Jews will not replace us. And the other thing they were saying was blood and soil.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And so even in their answer back video, they were trying to hide those flags, but you could still see them in a lot of the different shots.
Yeah.
Even though, like the other one, it was very clear. Like they pulled back and you saw that it was loaded all over the place.
Correct.
And that was absolutely an issue over there.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to see how biased certain sides are and how they will on purpose try to hide things from us so we won't actually have the facts.
Yeah, our government has a clear agenda here, and it's to use Ukrainian bodies to fight, as Chaz said, to fight to the last Ukrainian, to further isolate the Russian people from the Western world and world markets, etc., and to continue to make them a pariah so that we can be dominant. I mean, again, people didn't understand this during the Trump administration when they were trying to get the Nord Stream 2 pipeline approved. The Russians were trying to get Nord Stream 2 pipeline approved, which, by the way, would have curtailed the use of putting the pipeline through Ukraine. Ukraine stands to lose $2 billion a year if Nord Stream 2 gets approved. Okay? So during the Trump administration, remember, Trump was deep in the pockets of the Russians. Right as the Germans were about to approve Nord Stream 2, Trump goes to Angela Merkel and says, hey, look what we did for you guys against the Russians, and now you're going to go back and approve this deal with them instead of getting us the deal? And it made the Germans pause. And then Putin does he invades, and so now no European can work with it's just unbelievable. And America is just profiting from more war. Surprise, surprise. Our country is profiting from war. And it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So I think that we can learn some lessons here. One is that there is a real assault on free speech in this country. And, you know, I think on the one hand, being being demonetized, like, for example, this video is going to be demonetized. Like, YouTube, anybody who's a seasoned YouTuber who does this seriously knows how to work the algorithm, whatever your niche is. So in this niche, if we would have been putting out pro neolib, pro mainstream media talking points about this conflict, then they're going to put you in a different algorithmic set. They're going to page one you.
Yep.
And they're also going to approve your monetization. So that's a soft way of curtailing speech, because it's saying, hey, if you don't, then we'll put you on a lower tier. We won't promote you at all, and then all of your views are going to have to be 100% organic. So when people like, share, comment, subscribe, that's literally the only way to. I should probably ask people to share the video more, to be honest. But the only way to curtail the algorithm is by people actively saying, I'm going to share this, or I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is one end of the spectrum of curtailing free speech.
And I mean, how many people want to do work for free? Nobody wants to do work for free.
Right.
So you have to shoot the videos knowing that YouTube is going to demonetize it, so you're not going to make any money off the video. So literally everything you're doing is for free. So that's their way of saying, look, if you want to...
Right.
If you want to get paid for what you're doing, then do exactly what we tell you to do. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. So you had, on the one side you have that, and then on the other side.
Yeah, so that's one, but the extreme version of that is what happened to Gonzalo, or almost happened to him. What did happen to him and what could have happened to him. That's the extreme. That's how much these people hate free speech. They literally would rather see you die. And we know that this is not an exaggeration, because Sarah Cirillo, whatever her name was spiking the football. She was happy. She actually congratulated the SBU for picking up another journalist.
Ugly. Very ugly.
Unbelievable. So there you go, guys. Gonzalo is alive. So that's really, really good to hear.
Very good news.
But what I would say is, do not forget the lessons that these people have taught us. I think by now we can see they're not the good guys. Okay? Anybody that does this to journalists cannot be good guys. Right? I think we can agree on that. I don't think we can agree on a lot of things, but I do believe that that's something. And as Andrea is saying, he's still not free.
Exactly.
I mean, he's essentially under city arrest, if not house arrest. And I'm sure he's got a companion that follows him around and manages what he says.
A shadow just off camera.
And this conflict isn't over yet, and we don't know if he's completely going to make it out of this situation. So continue to pray for Gonzalo. Continue to watch the situation. And I will say,
you guys can hit the like button, share, subscribe this. It will help get this news out. And it helps to kind of go against what YouTube tries to do by silencing.
To Candy Apple's point, this is an open air prison he's in. It's just like Gaza. And by the way, shout out to all the Palestinians who, I think it was yesterday, just 2 days ago. Every Ramadan, this happens to them. The Israelis do this to Palestinians. Every Ramadan, they do it to them. Yeah. Bomb them, kill them. They did the same thing last year. There was bombings happening while the Muslims were praying last year in the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Oh, my gosh.
Every single year. It happens all the time. So, a lot of stuff going on, guys. But I'm gonna chalk this up. It's not a complete victory, but I'm gonna chalk this up as a win from the regular people.
Shout out to all of us.
and if you tweeted about Gonzalo, if you said anything about Gonzalo, if you shared a video, if you put out that hashtag, I truly believe that you had a hand in helping this guy.
Absolutely.
I really believe that. Just like I said, Aaron Mate probably protected us from a war in Syria with his white helmets reporting. So there you go. Much love to everybody. Do something good for somebody today. Middle America, we are the media. Go do something good, y'all. In the meantime, love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle America, we are the media. Till next time, guys.